3, 2, 1.
Please stand by for further details. We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
Hello to those of you who are feeling called to this reading in particular. Mystery reading number 1211. My name is Elizabeth, and before getting into this reading, if you are a recurring viewer, you enjoy my work, and you would like to help support it, feel free to do so by sticking around and hitting that subscribe button down below and ringing the notification bell next to it if you feel called to. If you do feel called to subscribe and stick around, welcome. And thank you very much for your support, as well as your presence during this reading. So, I just saw the number 111, or 111 on the timer. And in the number 1211, there are also 3 ones. So this feels like a very powerful message for somebody to have trust and faith. And this could be about having trust and faith in yourself, what you're capable of, who you could be, the universe, and what's possible for you, or just what's possible in general. Or maybe there's a need here to have a little more trust and faith in another person, or a certain situation, or some sort of process. I do want to mention that if you feel called to use your voice to express yourself honestly and authentically, have trust and faith in your ability to do that, as well as the calling that you are feeling to do that. The name Colin might be significant if you are feeling called to heal and to grow in some way, whether it's related to expressing yourself or not. Have trust and faith in this calling, in your own power to let go, to find acceptance. Yeah, I was about to say the number 3 in particular could be significant, because that's why I was getting those messages about using your voice and healing from. And as soon as I was about to say it, I looked down at the timer and hit exactly 3 minutes into recording the first segment of this video. So yeah, if you're seeing 3s, if they feel significant to you for some reason, I really encourage you to pay attention to that. Moving on to the number 2 in the number 1211. This could be confirmation of a significant relationship or situation that you are connected to, and the need to navigate this connection or this situation with wisdom and patience and integrity and honesty. There could be extra confirmation here for you to choose yourself and to protect yourself. Maybe past loved ones could be encouraging you to protect your stability, your sense of security and safety. When you add up all of these numbers, 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 1 is 4, and plus another 4 is 5. You, of course, get the number 5, which is about change and transformation. I wanted to say the word connection. There might be a significant relationship here where something needs to change or transform. It could be you, this other person, the dynamics in the situation, more than one thing that needs to change or transform. I was also feeling connected to the word form, like a shape, or trying to mold or create something in a way that takes a specific shape or form. Maybe there's a certain outcome that you're wanting here, a certain dynamic, a certain something that you are creating or want to create. And then the word form made me feel connected to the Italian word formare, which I believe means to form. So it does feel like your ancestors are acknowledging something that you are trying to create or form. And this could be a very broad or a very specific interpretation. Maybe you want this relationship or a certain way, situation to be a certain way, and your ancestors are acknowledging that for some reason. Maybe are your expectations too high, or are you not asking for a lot? They're highlighting this for a reason, a certain outcome or thing that you want. Overall, this number has heavily encouraged you to have a trust and faith, especially in yourself and the universe primarily, but secondarily, maybe another person or a certain situation or some sort of a process. There is a significant relationship or situation here. Seeing number 654, a sign about trusting that everything happens for a reason. And in this significant relationship or situation, maybe there's an important decision you need to make, or just important decisions in general that you need to make. And it's important to make these decisions wisely, to not rush if you don't have to make sure you are making decisions out of confidence instead of insecurity or fear. It feels like there does need something, or there is something that does need to change or transform. And like I said before, it could be this other person, it could be you, it could be both of you. Maybe there needs to be a change in the dynamics, especially if you're working, if you want a specific outcome or things to be a certain way. Something has to change in a way to either get you closer to that or to make you realize that you're not going to find that here. You know? Maybe there's a realization that something needs to change. And whether that's to stay or to leave, that really just depends on what your expectations are, whether they're realistic or not. Really, I think that's really all there is to say about that. So you can see that there are a bunch of cards here spread out on the table. I'm just going to pull one of these to read. And that's all I'm going to pull for this reading because I'm kind of in the middle of a break. I want these readings to be a little bit shorter so I can, relax or have fun a little more, So this card has the lucky numbers 10, 12, 13, 3, 2, and 1. I really encourage you to trust that everything happens for a reason, that you are being encouraged to have trust and faith for a reason, to be wise with your decisions for a reason, to acknowledge the need for some sort of change that needs to be made for a reason. This card says, when you pull a card and draw a heart, you and your beloved will never part. If this is about a relationship, this feels positive. Nobody's here to really villainize. It's just like maybe just a neutral acknowledgement that something needs to change and both of you are on board or something like that. Let me keep reading what this card says. You are a strong believer in fate. You feel that you have no control over your destiny. Fortunately, you are destined to be very happy indeed. You've had some trouble, mostly caused by inconsideration of others, but fate will be kind to you and you can expect your life to run on a smoother pattern. You are somewhat irresponsible and that has caused you some hardships. You have a neat and tidy nature and can't tolerate slovenliness around you. Since you demand this of yourself and others, you will always live in a tidy atmosphere. Interesting. Maybe what needs to change has something to do with chores or cleaning around the house, maybe even hygiene, just care of self and your environment. I'm seeing number 111 on the timer. More encouragement there for you to have trust and faith. If that aligns with you, this is your confirmation that more care needs to be taken into either more care needs to be taken into yourselves and your environment, or maybe someone here needs to be a little less strict. But regardless, make sure however you move forward aligns with just who you truly are. I don't want you to feel like you have to be somebody you're not. To keep somebody, feel like you have to pretend to be somebody you're not, to pretend to be aligned with someone or something. You know? I think regardless, it's important to be honest with yourselves in one way or another. Do you feel called to pull some sort of card, to use your tarot cards or cards you made yourself or something? Is there a significant heart that you have drawn here? Given that this card says you are a strong believer in fate, I feel like you already know that you're seeing this reading for a reason. And I just saw 234, another sign which was that everything happens for a reason. So yeah, you are seeing this reading for a reason, and I feel like you know it. This may not resonate for everybody, but someone here may be concerned that they are being taken advantage of or exploited in some way. So be mindful of somebody who may have a silver tongue or who isn't exactly very honest with you, even if it appears to be little things that they're not honest about. Do you feel like you are being inconsiderate? Or someone is being inconsiderate of you? Well, regardless of however you move forward, things should get easier, apparently. And even if you feel like you're the one who isn't being considered, maybe there's a call here for you to be more responsible when it comes to standing up for who you are, for being honest, you know, being responsible in a way that you hold others accountable to be responsible as well. Not that you should be mothering or fathering anyone or treating them like a child, but you know, you should feel safe and okay to let somebody know, like, hey, this isn't fair, or I feel like you should be doing more, or I don't like when you do this, this bothers me. It's okay if you're not perfect, if this other person isn't perfect, and this other person needs to acknowledge the same thing. That what doesn't matter is perfection, but what does matter is honesty and a willingness to grow and to evolve and to change for the better. It does feel like whatever's coming up is about boundaries. especially related to cleanliness. And it may be a difficult conversation, but you deserve to live in an environment that you feel comfortable in, to share a bed with somebody that you feel comfortable with. You deserve to feel comfortable in your own home. Even if it means being a little more responsible yourself. You know, like the cleanliness thing, it could be both of you, you know, that need to work on that a little more without judging yourselves or each other, just in the name of self-improvement and peace and happiness and comfort. And I just saw 5, 4, 3. I think that's the third time we've seen a sign about trusting that everything happens for a reason. Overall, this reading has very heavily encouraged you to have trust and faith, whether it's in yourself, the universe, another person, another situation. Have trust and have faith. And be wise with your decisions while you're navigating this relationship or situation. Protect yourself if you need to, and push for some needed change. It feels like, even if it's not about cleanliness or hygiene or anything like that. It does feel like there's something here about boundaries or care. It just feels like something needs to change for the better. And it feels like this relationship is something that is very meaningful to you, and vice versa to this other person. That may not resonate for everybody, so trust your instincts and your intuition, and, you know, let go of somebody or something if you need to. You're definitely seeing this reading for a reason. And if you allow for it, if you make the right decisions, you say, well, you're just honest, I feel like things will get better, either in a cleanliness or hygienic type of way, or just some other way in a relationship or situation. Maybe this conversation will be difficult, but I also feel like it's an important conversation to at least make sure that you're both on the same page about what you want, how you want to live, you know, both as a person and in your environment, shared environment.